So last chapter, they had sold all those beaded necklaces and made all that money and bought all that stuff. And we learned about Utterul's story, his sad story of how he lost his family and probably why he's homeless now. Okay, chapter 20, Endless Mountains. Couldn't we all learn to make necklaces? I suggested the next morning. We'd get so much more money. But if we stop providing the waste man with stuff every day, he might start paying us less, Muthu argued. Plus, Kumar's gang could take over. The city'll have trash every day, but girls are not going to buy necklaces every day, Arul added. Who knows if we'll find other customers? Also, Muthu said, most people won't pay as much as those college girls. How many necklaces do we even have left, Ruku? Utterul asked. One. You fished out the necklace we hadn't sold yet and let it dangle from your fingers. Kuti pounced on a beam of light the necklace caught and reflected onto the bridge. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3. Just one? So we don't even have enough to make a nice display, Muthu said. Let's go back to the Himalayas. Ruku can do her work while we do ours. I agreed because I didn't want to offend them by pushing too hard for what I felt was a nicer way to earn a living. After all, there'd be time to figure this out. I could slowly but surely convince them. I shouldered my bag and picked up my stick and tried to put on a brave face. Ready to climb the Himalayas again? Muthu asked when we arrived at the dump. My disgust probably showed, because Arul took one look at me and tried to make it into a game. You can be captain. What? We're mountain climbers, remember? You lead our team. Arul speared a large rag with a misshapen metal pole that lay on the ground. Here, carry our flag, Captain. Okay. I took the flag that lay on the ground. I took the flag from Arul and stood straight as a soldier, singing the national anthem. Jana Gana Mana. You set your beads down and hummed the tune along with me. And Kuti stuck his nose in the air and howled, Ow! I was just getting into the spirit of our game when someone hooted, Look, Kumar! Those bridge boys are following that new girl. It was Shridhar, the rude boy who had wanted to fight. Scowling, I faced him. Aha! So she's your leader now? Another one of Shridhar's gang mocked me. Why not? Arul asked. But, Shridhar gaped, she's a girl. Indira Gandhi was a woman, Arul said. She led our country, didn't she? These boys don't know that, boss, Muthu said. They're ignorant and stupid. Who are you insulting? Shridhar balled his fists. You started it, Muthu glared, arms akimbo. Never mind who started it. Arul pushed them apart. I'm stopping it. We need to get to work. All of us. Right, Kumar agreed. Let's see who gets more stuff, Shridhar challenged as he moved off with the 3 other boys in his gang. That'll show who's smarter. Tell us where to start, Captain Arul said. I marched toward a mound that looked like it had lots of glass and tin. Carefully, I waded up as high as I could. I stuck our flag at the top and saluted it. The boys saluted me, and we went to work. A nauseating smell rose and smacked me in the face, but I toiled as fast as I could. I tried to focus on the one thing I could be thankful for. the thick haze of rain clouds that kept the sun from beating down on you and the rest of us. Finally, our sacks were full. Enough, I commanded. We marched back, single file with me in the lead, to where you were waiting patiently. Finish up, Sridhar yelled to his gang. We hurried back to the waste-marked man's street. We were busy sorting out our loot out front when Sridhar sneaked up and snatched a twisted metal plate that we had found. Give it back, Muthu shouted. It's ours. Not anymore, Sridhar shoved Muthu backward. Muthu? He leaped up as he lost his balance and fell. Awa? Kuti snarled and nipped Sridhar's ankle, making him yelp. I'm okay, Muthu grinned, but sounds like Sridhar has an awa. Arul was pulling Kuti off Kumar and the other boys, and his gang joined Sridhar, yelling and adding to the commotion. The waste-marked man lumbered out of his shack and took in the scene. What's going on? I grabbed your hand and looked down at my grime-encrusted feet. Who's this? He towered over us, so close that his shadow fell across you. Another new girl. Hairy nose, you observed, looking up at him. Hairy ears. A nervous giggle escaped me. Some of the boys giggled too. Think that's funny? He looked at you. What's your name? Ruku, you answered. Ruku, he exaggerated the slowness of your speech. Where do you live? Don't answer him, Ruku, I whispered. Keeping secrets? The waste-marked man turned to Kumar's gang. Maybe one of you boys can tell me where these girls stay. They live on a bridge, Sridhar volunteered. Shut up, Kumar hissed. Sneaks can't stay with us. He stepped away from Sridhar, and the other boys in his gang followed. On a bridge? Which bridge? Kumar pressed his lips together. I don't like doing business with rude kids who don't reply to me, the waste man growled. Rude kids get paid less. Not one, not even Sridhar, said another word. How could anyone live on a bridge without getting run over by traffic? The waste man said. But he didn't press us with any more questions. He even paid us the same pittance amount he usually did, despite his threats. Still, the waste man's curiosity in where we lived left me uneasy. So that's a very interesting chapter. Okay. Think about Sridhar's actions carefully. Think about what the waste-marked man is doing and saying very carefully as we go to the next chapter. And I'll warn you, the next chapter is pretty heavy and disturbing. Okay. So, let's see. Chapter 21. Chased away. But I think what the author is doing, before I get into this, she's trying to show what it would really be like for kids to have to run away. That it's nothing to like think is cool, nothing to think is fun or adventurous. Nothing about this life is a life any of us would want, okay? So I think that's why her stories are so realistic. They're sometimes scary, is because she's trying to tell a story of how it is in real life, and she doesn't want anyone to think that this is something they should try. She wants people to know that being a homeless child on the streets is not adventurous, is not fun. Okay, chapter 21, Chased Away. We spent some of our skimpy earnings on thick plastic sheets to keep our home dry, because Arul said the rainy season was approaching. It scares me that the waste-mart man's so interested in where we live, I told Arul that evening as we spread the plastic on the ground beneath our straw mats and pillows. You don't think he'll come looking for us, do you? No, Arul sounded confident. He's a cheat and a bully, but too lazy to come searching for us. What are you worrying about now, Akka? Mutu cackled with laughter. Scared he's going to steal your gold? You two don't think we should move? I said. What? And give up our palace above the Silver River? Arul said. Don't worry. Mutu flexed his scrawny arms. See how much muscle I have? And with you and Kuti and the boys close at hand and the waste-mart man far away, it did feel silly to worry. Would you be worried? Later that night, I was falling asleep to the patter of light rain when a volley of barks interrupted the peace that peered out of our tent. Kuti was standing by the entrance with his back arched. What's wrong? Came Arul's sleepy voice. A man cursed, and another man yelled something back. I recognized one of the voices. The waste-mart man had found us. Arul lifted the towel separating our tents. Quick, he said, run! Ruku, I shook you awake. Get up! Mutu and I each took one of your hands and pulled you out of the tent. We began to hobble across the bridge, rain-slicked bridge. Ruku, I heard the waste-mart man drawl as he and the other man stumbled toward us. I found you. Our money, Mutu gasped. I've got to go back for it. We can get it later. Arul shoved Mutu forward. Keep going. We stumbled on, but Arul stopped to fling a chunk of concrete at the men. Snarling, Kutu hurled himself in their direction. I heard a yowl of pain. Ah! Kuti, or one of the men. When we reached the road, Kuti and Arul raced up to join us. You two hide, Arul whispered. We'll lead them away. In the dim glow of a street lamp, I saw Mutu and Arul's bare heels thumping along the dark road ahead. Then the boys slowed down, running in full view, trying to lure the men after them. The two of us turned into a side street, and we stiffened against a wall in the shadows. I tried not to think of anything except the feel of your hand, bony but strong, in mine. We were lucky. The men hurtled down the other road, chasing the boys. You slouched over Kuti and meowed like a lost kitten. An occasional car whooshed by. At last, Arul and Mutu arrived, panting. Come on, Arul said. We've got to find a better hiding place. You wouldn't budge, though the boys whispered encouragements. Ruku, I urged, please. We have got to go just a bit further. Slowly you straightened up, like a snail coming out of its shell, and let us haul you along. We sped down a quiet stretch of road where huge trees loomed over us. Here, Arul stopped by a long wall. Come on. Arul climbed atop the wall and leaned down. Ruku first. I struggled to lift you as high as I could, and Arul pulled you over the wall. I heard you with a faint thump. Kuti's sharp eyes had discovered a hole, and he was scuffling through it. Mutu clambered over the wall with Arul's help, and then it was my turn. The wet wall gleamed in the faint moonlight. I slipped a few times, but it finally scaled it and plummeted into bushy undergrowth on the other side. It was when Arul thudded down next to me that I noticed we were in a graveyard. Okay, so for today's response, just a simple one. Such an action-packed 2 chapters. So I would like you to just explain what just happened to Viji, Ruku, Arul, and Mutu, and talk about why. Right. So start at when they're at the Himalayas with the Way Smart Man, and then talk about what happened on the bridge. And then I would also like to know, what would you do if you were them? So we found out they're in a graveyard. What next? Do they go back to the bridge? What should they do? Like, do they stay there all night? What about the next morning? So what would your plan be? What would you do? That's how they work, is going to the Way Smart Man. What would you do for work? Would you continue to go to the Himalayas and sell your trash to him? So I'm curious about like what their next step should be and what you think about that. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.